Well, that sucks. Just got here to Pelican and don't know how this happened. It's a good thing it's a dual axle, and I sure hope I make it home and the other one doesn't do that. It's crazy because I had the wheel bearings packed just yesterday. Alright, enough thinking about that tire or axle problem. It's stressing me out. Let's talk about fishing. Here we are at Pelican Lake in northeastern Utah, fishing for largemouth bass. I started fishing with topwater, but they weren't really willing to bite that, so I quickly switched it up to a spinnerbait. Okay, so I just had to show you this first clip though because it shows the absolute bass heaven that Pelican Lake is. There's lily pads, there's grass, there's just everything that you picture, at least I picture, when I think of bass fishing. So it was amazing. I had to put the frog away, and I ended up catching them on spinnerbaits, jerkbaits, and soft plastic stick worms. Alright, I do have to say how happy I am with my Dakota Ulterra trolling motor, with the ability to deploy and then remote steer it back to the dock. It just makes launching my boat so much easier when I'm fishing on my own. And then being able to deploy the motor when I'm coming up on a spot while I kill the gas motor and start getting fishing poles ready just makes me a much more efficient fisherman. So couldn't be happier. So I really like the spinnerbait for these grassy-like conditions. When the grass is standing straight up and just tall as can be, the spinnerbait just runs right through them, doesn't snag, doesn't get hung up much. If there's lily pads and more of a horizontal vegetation, then totally different story. Spinnerbait will still get hung up, but for these conditions, it was just absolutely perfect.
First fish on a spinnerbait. Just a little guy though. Trying to figure these guys out. We've been out here for like 5 minutes. Caught one fish so far. Threw a frog for a little bit. Frog looks like it would tear it up here, but not really taking anything on top water so far that I can tell, but maybe when it starts to warm up. Little chunky guy.
I also like the willow leaf blades. I feel like they don't get hung up quite as much, and most of the spinnerbaits that I was throwing, I tried a few different colors, but they had gold willow leaf blades, and I really feel like that was the ticket during this trip. Definitely caught more fish on the gold blades versus other varieties.
That was another one on custom spinnerbait. Just made in a perch pattern, but it is doing its thing. Catching fish right now, so.
Alright, so one thing, I do love my 360 camera, but one thing that bothers me about it sometimes is because it's a 360 camera, sometimes it looks like there's rod bend when there actually isn't, like right now in this clip. You did have to kind of drag your soft plastics through the weeds, and sometimes it was hard to tell if it was a fish providing some resistance or if it was the grass. But you'd lightly pull on it and see if the fish really tries to tug and pull back. Then you know, oh dear, set the hook.
The little guy. That one was on my 5-inch Senko or stick worm, and smashing pumpkin is what I call it because it's got orange craw kind of color on the bottom, and then green pumpkin but with green and purple flake. So pretty epic color for here. I've caught a lot of fish on that one, so good stuff. All right, another nice bass, probably another 2.5 pounder. Just fatty, getting ready to spawn. Nice fish. All right, I'll put him back.
Okay, so a lot of times when I'm fishing structure and grass like this, I'll just look for the little pockets where you can throw your bait in. The biggest reason is I'm throwing this stick worm weightless. The only weight is the worm itself and the hook. And so if it lands on top of any vegetation, it's not going to punch through it and sink down to the bottom. But there were a few times where I just cast way back into the thickest, nastiest grass or patches of grass that I could find, and I pulled out some really nice fish. So I think sometimes they'll even come up, and if they see it floating or sitting near the surface, they would take a swipe at it. So it was pretty nice. Epic for sure.
Man, he was way back there. Definitely don't want to be doing this without 15-20 plus strength fishing line, because they will break you off in a heartbeat.
And you could fish these worms with like a bullet weight on the tip, Texas rigged, but for me it was just like, why? The water's not that deep. It's only maybe 4 to 6 feet depending on where I'm casting to, and the bullet weight is just gonna make it harder to get the lure where I want it to go, and yeah, it might punch through the grass a little bit better, but the fish were more than willing to come out of the thick stuff into the pockets.
Nice. Man, that fish was way back in here. Got him though. Nice, probably 2.5, 3 pounder. We'll see. Probably 2.5. Oh man, he swallowed that thing. Alright. Nice fish. Let's weigh him real quick. And it's saying 2.6 if I got it on there right. Let's see. Try it one more time just to make sure. Yeah, 2.6. Not a bad little fish. Nice. Alright, we'll let that one go. Alright, it's starting to warm up. There we go. Alright, nice little fish. Don't know where the big ones went, but I'll let them get back. Alright.
Okay, so one of my biggest pieces of advice is if you're going to Pelican anytime soon, the mayfly hatch is crazy. There are bugs everywhere. They were attacking me, trying to land on my eyelashes. I swear my eyelids engulfed a few mayflies. At least they weren't mosquitoes, but they were still extremely bothersome. So my tip is bring a mosquito net, especially if you're going to be fishing in the grass like this. The closer I got to the grass, the mayflies would come off of the grass and just start attacking me like crazy. So definitely wish I had a mosquito net to throw over my face.
Alright, a little bit better than the last. Same 5-inch Smashing Pumpkins stickworm. Let's see. Alright, we'll let one go. Yeah. There's one on the jerkbait. Feels like just a little guy though. Oh, he's decent. Oh, actually, he's pretty nice. Maybe 2.5, 3. Oh no, he's bigger. Yeah. Dang, look at that. First jerkbait fish here. This is on my perch pattern. Definitely one of my go-tos, but just thought I would throw it here because they weren't taking soft plastics. It's still early. Maybe I could get a reaction bite, but yeah, that's a nice fish. Sweet. See if there's more in these weeds over here. Nice. Alright, let's let him go.
And this jerkbait was absolutely perfect for fishing the outer edge of the grass. If I felt like there were fish out there, I would throw it towards that outer edge and get hit quite a bit. I also felt like it was my best chance at catching a tiger muskie, because I would see tiger muskie every once in a while patrolling the grass edges. Never did hook up with one. It seems like every time I saw one and I'd try to reach for that pole, the tiger muskie saw me before I could get a cast off.
Man, they are liking this jerkbait. Flip them with 8-pound tests. That's probably not smart.
Perfect bait though for fishing shallow water. It only goes down about 3 to 5 feet. and you can control that depth a lot if you want it to run shallower or deeper. So it's just perfect for these conditions.
Dang, that's a pretty nice one. Oh man, these fish are looking like they might be spawned out. Nice fish nonetheless though. Sweet. That will go. Good fish. On the jerkbait. Man, this jerkbait's working this morning. Soft plastics hasn't turned on yet. But that nice perch pattern, it's got a holographic core. Working really well. Nice. This was like a pretty good one. Oh yeah, he is. That's a chunk. Heck yeah, baby. That is a sweet fish. So she came in at 3.74, so almost 4 pounds. That's a nice bass. Heck yeah. Alright, let's see if we can get her back in there. Let's do it on this side so that hopefully we can capture it. That was cool.
Alright, so I just had to throw in these extra pictures of other fish that I caught during the trip. A lot of these were caught off camera because my 360 camera, although I love it, it provides great footage of the entire 360 degrees, but man, it overheats fast. So it was really frustrating because I would try to record every fish that I caught, but it just wasn't possible because the camera would overheat in like 15 or 20 minutes in the heat of the afternoon. So it is what it is, but here were some of those other nice fish that I caught during the trip. Alright, so thanks again for watching. I'll leave you with this amazing sunset up here at Pelican Lake. It was just the perfect way to end a trip. And don't forget to mash that like and subscribe button so that I can keep producing more amazing content. So I really appreciate your support. And to see any of those baits used in the video, be sure to check out my website, getsomecustombaits.com. Thank you.